Ladies and gentlemen, it's high time for me to make a video that I really wish I didn't have to make. But it's time to swallow the medicine. It's time to swallow the poison pill. And it's time for us to actually get a little bit real about what's going on in Wuthering Waves version 2.7. Because I'm looking at the timeline right now. It's been about two and a half days since the patch dropped. And it's pretty clear that the story in this version update was pretty damn good. A good around 7 hours worth of content, assuming you played it all with relatively modest amount of skill and ability to read dialogue, right? 7 hours of content. And now we're at the point where that content is effectively over for the update. Because when you go ahead and you take a look at the events tab, ladies and gentlemen, well, this is what you see. You've got your login event. Oh, good thing I remembered to do that today. Character trials. And then Lament, Recon, Solaris, Soldier. And I'm going to be honest, I heard this game mode is not really that fun. I heard it's actually really boring. I'm going to save it until probably closer to the end of the update because I will be taking a break from Wuthering Waves during version 2.7 because there's nothing to do. If I don't want to play a knockoff version of Vampire Survivors, then I literally don't have anything to do in the update currently because I'm done with the story. I'm also done with the Arsenosa hologram. And so the only thing that's left is literally doing weeklies, dailies, and of course, resets of endgame modes. Thank God there's a Tower of Adversity one tomorrow in Southeast Asia, so I'll be able to sink my teeth into that. But after this, starting on about Monday or Tuesday of next week, we are going to be in one of the most heinous content droughts in the history of the game. And it is not looking good for the next 38 or so days, because the only content you have is the story, pulling this unit, and then the after story with Chu Yan in the second half of the update. Oh, and also Vampire Survivors if this is something that you actually want to play. But if the number of people who are upset with Phantasma Dreamland or Title Defense Simulator or even like the fucking, this mode itself, if the number of people upset by the existence of these game modes isn't pretty clear, a lot of people hated this shit. I didn't even complete it. All I got was like my goddamn hologram and then dipped, right? Or all I got was my skin for the fallacy and then dipped because I felt like this was one of the biggest wasted times I've ever had in the game. And believe me when I say this, based off the feedback I've already heard, this is what's starting to occur. People are now going to hate every single minigame that comes out for Wuthering Waves. It's a fact, because Kuro has abused us, starting from version 2.5. If you actually want to take a look at what's going on, there's been no events in the game other than login events across 2.5, which was Phantasma Dreamland, 2.6, which was Title Defense Simulator, and now this is going to be the third patch in a row where it's been login events and minigames with Lament, Recon, Soldier. And you want to know what the most insulting part about this is? 2.7 is both the update that is the longest streak without any meaningful events, and it also has the least login events out of all the game mode, or out of all the updates, the least overall number of events. And you want to know what I want to show you over here? I want to show you the event schedule for the update. We just got Lament, Recon, Solaris, Soldier. And so next week, we're going to have the parkour event. So this is what it is. We're here. This just dropped. There's going to be nothing for like 5 days other than a TOA reset. Then there's going to be Sentimont weather forecast. Then there's going to be nothing for 14 days. And then a double drop event. Then we're going to have the WuWa reset. Then we're going to have the second half of the update, Chu Yan's quest, right? Another login event. Another login event. And then a photo combat event. Combat in parentheses, because all you're really doing is fighting trash mob enemies and then finding spots to take a photo and then cord cleansing. You want to know where most of the events for this update are? We have more external, like Discord sign-in, Twitch drop, and like art contest event. There are more external events for 2.7 than there are actual events in the fucking game. There are more like goddamn Discord sign-in events, Twitch drops, which I think are live right now on my channel, and this shit. There's more of this than actual events in the game. Guys, I don't even know what's going on over here. The fact that there's more external events is the part that really blows my goddamn mind off the most. And you want to know what the best part about this Solaris Soldier thing is? You can't even play it for a long time because apparently this thing is time-gated as well. So, like, I think if you log in today and then play this, you can play it for, like, 10 or 15 minutes. And then you gotta wait until tomorrow to unlock more of it. So it's like, you're like not meant to play this game this update. I genuinely think that's what it's supposed to be. I'm viewing this as a Duet Night Abyss advertisement, this entire damn patch, because you're meant to log on, do the story, the event's time gated, so it's like, okay, you can't even do that. And you want to know what the end result is, ladies and gentlemen? Do you want to know what people are beginning to say about Wuthering Waves? Didn't know WuWa collabed with HSR, because that's also a game mode that has pretty big-ass story quests and then absolutely nothing else in the goddamn update, and the player base is tired of that bullshit. The game is fucking boring. Not a single event. Huh. And remember, this was before Vampire Survivors, but do recall, you can only play this for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's time-gated. So it's like, it's still like relevant. And then we got this. And this is the big one. And you want to know what? This is probably the most painful part of it all. Because you know what's going to happen. You're going to have a bunch of actual legitimate Hoyo shills, Genshin fans, HSR fans, ZZZ fans, going ahead and, of course, using this as another launch pad to talk shit about Wuthering Waves. But this is the thing. There are things in here that I can reasonably agree with. The main one being, there's no events. But there's one thing that I'm going to address over here. And the situation is pretty simple. The fandom doesn't know criticism. Well, let's be honest. This is an issue, and this is a situation, ladies and gentlemen, that I have been making sure to address multiple times within all of my different communities, right? This update is a 7 out of 10. Good story. 9 to 9.5 out of 10 on the story. Solid 2 to 3 out of 10 when it comes to everything else. I think that rounds out to a solid 7 out of 10, to be real. And then my honest thoughts on WuWa 2.7. I called it mid for a reason. Because you log in after doing the story quest, and ladies and gentlemen, there is no actual update to do. I did my Arsenosa hologram, right? I did it. There's nothing to do in the patch because I don't want to fucking play another minigame after getting my fucking balls dragged through the mud in Phantasma Dreamland, and then also getting my mental shattered completely by arrow prisms in this godforsaken game mode. There's not a lot. And this is the thing. I called it out early. I made multiple videos regarding the issue 2 weeks before the update dropped, because I'm not an idiot. I know what it looks like when a patch has no content, and this patch, without a doubt, has the least amount of content, I think, potentially in WuWa history. I think that outside of the story, this is the worst update I've ever seen in the game. If you're to not consider the quality of the story, it is without a doubt the worst update in the history of the game. And the story is the only thing keeping this from being judged the literal worst update in potentially gacha history. I can't think of many gacha updates that are actually worse than this one. And I mean this from the perspective of, like, even including Hoyoverse games, including ZZZ, including HSR, including Genshin Impact. If you don't factor in the story in this update, it's like a solid 1 or 2 out of 10. It's actually dog shit. And the sooner that the player base, right, is able to recognize this, start talking about this, making genuine, legitimate concerns about this, right, instead of giving us stupid-ass, goofy-ass, silly-ass, dumb-ass advice like go play other games, like a bunch of other content creators have just found to be, you know, really comfortable saying in the past couple of weeks, go play other games. Yes, that's what we will be doing. And guess what? On Renacita's finale, after one of the best story quests in gacha history, after the amazing hype that they spent the entire year building up, everyone's going to stop playing the game for an extended period of time because there is nothing to do. And we've had 3 versions of experience under our belt in the past 120 days of what it looks like when there's nothing to do in an update. And believe me when I say this, the players that have been playing the game since 1.1, 1.2, 1.0, 1.3, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, what they came to the game for, there's not going to be that much of it outside of the first 2 days of the past 3 updates. That's it. You've gotten nothing of what you came to the game originally for. I don't think there's a lot of people that decided, hey, I'm going to invest money into WuWa. I'm going to do my dailies and log in so I can go play a fucking 5-hour casual event every update. Yeah, this is the main thing I want to do. I want to play a giga casual 5-hour fucking event every 40 days and nothing else. That's not what most people came to WuWa for. But that's what you're getting now in the game. And that's the only thing we've gotten for 120 fucking days. And let's just be entirely honest, guys. This is one of the biggest shames ever. That's why I made videos like the Hoyofication of WuWa. That's why I made videos like the 2.7 situation is crazy. And of course, right, that's why I made this video called Wake Up, Genshin 2.0. Because that's what this game is slowly starting to become. And you want to know why?
For the end game,
it's because of some of the content that I've covered in here. Where you got a bunch of goofy-ass players leaving dog shit feedback like this on a daily basis when it comes to this game. Someone posted that this is a time-gated event, so I quickly logged in and find out it's just a simple login and claim, which I very much preferred, as I have not even started on the main quest. This is the types of players that Kuro is listening to. These players who talk about how they don't have any time at all to play the game, and then you look at their history, and all they have is posts in Hoyoverse game subreddits, deeply engaging with the meta of HSR, ZZZ, Genshin Impact, deeply engaging with the meta, super committed time sinks, and they want to play Wuthering Waves as a daily login side game so that they have absolutely no need to spend more than 2 minutes for all the events in the update, and they can just dedicate all their time to Hoyoverse games. This is what 2.4 brought in. A bunch of players that wanted to play WuWa like it's fucking Uma Musume. They wanted to play WuWa like it's like a fucking tap idol heroes. And they gave the most dog shit feedback. This is all I could assume, right? Because I'm going to assume that Kuro's listening, right? They're listening to something when it came to designing the last 3 goddamn updates. I hope they were listening to something, that this isn't just something that they decided to randomly fucking do, right? I pray. But in this case, if they're listening to people that joined, literally, and I'm using this word in, like, non-sarcastically, I hate using it, but they're listening to actual tourists, people that were on vacation from Hoyoverse because there was so much popularity for version 2.4. They came for 2.4. They want to play WuWa like the most sidey of all side games ever, like at an actual legitimate tourist level, and then sent in the worst feedback I've ever seen. Because guess what? You know for certain that this dude and his buddies, after they were done with their deep Honkai Star Rail theory crafting session, thinking about how much speed is required for the bosses not to go tell them to go fuck themselves, playing older units, it's like they just want to relax with WuWa after a long day of HSR theory crafting and just log in for some 2-minute events. Guys, we got cooked. I'm just gonna be real with you. I think we got severely cooked. Otherwise, I got no idea why the last 3 goddamn fucking updates have been the exact same thing. Dog shit minigame, then login events. For 120 damn days. And then they managed to make it even worse by time gating this. And so even if you wanted to play the mini games, you can't even play play at your own pace because it's time gated, on top of this being the only event in the fucking update. It's legitimately mind-blowing what's going on over here. You're actually not meant to play the game right now. You're not meant to play because you can't. You can't. You cannot play. There's nothing to do anymore. And this will be, by the end of this update, the 120th day of login events and mini games that you may or may not even want to play. And there's one thing for certain. There's very little actual Wuthering Waves across these past 120 days. And I can only pray that whatever has happened here, whatever dynamic that has been going on with the whole, like, listening thing, the feedback, all of that, that this passes. Because if 2.8 if 2.8 marks 160 days with no combat event, no meaningful side activities, just a bunch of goofy ass mini games, and then more fucking login events, guys, I think people are at their last wits. And yes, the story was definitely a big moment of hype for people, but what are they doing now? Because guess what? All you need to do once again is look at the schedule, and I've never seen something look this goddamn depressing ever before when it comes to a gacha. This is legitimately pathetic. And the last point that I want to address is the stupidest thing I've heard yet when it comes to dismissing these critiques.
Kuro's just cooking for 3.0. Why are you getting so concerned? Just let him cook. They're gonna have an amazing update in 3.0.
This update is 2 updates before 3.0, right? A lot of people, I mean, it's basically clear by now. We're going to have 2.8 as the wrap-up with Chisa, and then we're going to have 3.0, right? You want to know what the update was 2 patches before Wuthering Waves 2.0? Because we're 2 patches before 3.0. You want to know what it is or what it was? I'll show you. Wuthering Waves 1.3. Wuthering Waves 1.3 was the update. 2 updates before 3.0. Or before 2.0. Login event, exploration event, photo collection. The first iteration of the co-op holograms, one of the best events in the history of the game. Parkour, infinite battle simulation, and then a login event. So no, I'm not gonna buy this dog shit fucking excuse that they're prepping for 2.0 or that they're prepping for 3.0 because we've already seen what the company puts out when they're prepping for a 2.0. This was the version. 2 versions before 2.0. We're on the version. 2 versions before 3.0. And there's literally so little fucking content in here that it makes, like, this absolutely makes this look embarrassing as hell. Legitimately embarrassing. So no, let's not give this whole excuse of, oh, they're cooking for 3.0. They were cooking for 2.0, and there's better events in here. So yeah, I think we've addressed everything. And I really do hope, once again, that when the opportunity does arise to give your feedback, to talk about what the past couple of versions have done horrifically wrong, you all talk about the fact that the amount of content to do in this game has not even been close to satisfactory, and that these ridiculous fucking minigames take way too fucking long to complete, especially as somebody who's here to play Wuthering Waves. And if you don't like these game modes, this is the dynamic that's starting to develop. This is the majority of your playtime in the patch. And if you don't like this game mode, you literally do not enjoy your playtime in Wuthering Waves. Because you want to know what happened when I was trying to get and unlock the fallacy of no return limited skin during this TD event? I started feeling like I was playing Genshin Impact. I started hating the game. And when this event is 800 Astrite, tuners, which is required for your endgame progression, and then modifiers, which are also required for your endgame progression, well, guess what? You're going to have to play this game if you want to be on top of the meta in Wuthering Waves. If you want to progress your endgame roster, if you want to build your characters, you have to play this game mode. Otherwise, you will not be able to pull them, and you will not be able to build them either. Lovely. Just what I wanted to do. Another minigame that doesn't involve my characters, that I need to play, otherwise I can't build my characters. 120 days of this bullshit. That's too damn long, and it needs to stop immediately.